FlurrySports Podcast. Tonight, Jake is off, and we got Luke Reimer with us because we need to talk basketball, which I think it's a good opportunity for Jake to take a week off. He still thinks Jamal Tinsley's in the NBA. I think he's excited for Josh Smith to get another alley-oop. So
Juwan Howard.
And exactly. And I'm not fully up to date, obviously. So we got Luke, who's the resident expert on the NBA at FlurrySports, because before I say anything else, Game 7 of the NBA Finals just ended, and nobody knows that the NBA draft is in 2 days, and that is kind of what we're talking about today.
Right. I will say before we start, kind of convenient that Jake can't come on after the Brewers hung 34 runs on the Twins in 3 games over the weekend.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yikes. I did see, because I needed to pick up somebody in fantasy baseball. I guess maybe a bad decision to pick up a Twins player. I did see a lot of losses in a row. Like, okay, time to break the trend. I won't tell you specifically why I picked up this player. Maybe it's an off-air conversation, but I think I made a mistake. And it's because, this is a safe space. The guy's last name is, I think, Lee, and I assumed he was Asian. Okay, so let's start there. They play Seattle. I'm like, oh, Asians love Seattle. So I thought he was going to go ballistic. I think he's a white Lee, which is not what you want here, but we'll see what happens. Maybe he does.
Yeah. One of the games, Brewers got up 17-2, and they put their first baseman in to pitch the bottom of the 9th. And he gave the Brewers first baseman gave up 5 runs, and the Brewers started warming up a closer just in case things got crazy. And he was able to get out of it, though.
Yeah, I hope so. What's up with the Brewers this year? Like, I feel like it's every swing. Either they're up by 10 or down by 10.
Yeah, right now they're playing good ball.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I still have Brewers to make the playoffs bets from preseason. And you know what? Maybe I should double down.
You're probably looking at a wild card because the Cubs are a contender.
Yeah, I wasn't. You don't need to win the division.
Correct.
I don't care about that.
I will say, your bet on the Rockies winning manager of the year, he got fired after 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I maybe at the midpoint, which is close to now, I think, they'll realize, hey, we're not better without him, and we're not better without a leader, and they bring him back. And then if they go on a run, that's going to be something the MLB's never seen, and he gets the award.
Well, I will say, Rockies won 3 games in a row, and I think they're mathematically eliminated now, but at that point they weren't. And he's like, the guy's like, don't let us get hot. We win 100 games. We're in the playoffs.
Hell yeah. Never know. Only way to go but up. Why not? I was pitching last week. And by the way, I'm very serious about this. Give me the reins to the Rockies for 1 year and just see what happens. I think I can make something happen. But why wouldn't the Rockies at the deadline be like, hey, give us all of your expiring contracts for veteran players, and let's just make a run at this thing. That seems fun.
Just dump all your money into old guys and see if you can go for it.
Yeah, fuck it. You're gonna get so much in jersey sales because they're all on 1 year contracts, and then you got to get rid of them anyway. That's what I would do. And you know what? Get these old guys with something to prove too. They're trying to earn another contract. I want everybody fighting for positions, pissed off if they're not in the starting rotation that day. That's what we need to have a team full of.
Plus, you're playing at Coors Field. I mean, if you hit the ball in the air, it's going to be a home run.
Exactly. And I think I pitched Bo Nix is going to be a pitcher. We know he can throw it. He's in town. Fuck it.
Right.
We need somebody.
I will say
easy. It's not that hard.
It's quite the inter manager is saying don't let us get hot. It's quite an interesting spot. You come in, you take over the worst team in MLB history. You're going to get fired. They're going to bring someone else in.
Right.
You just came in as a hitting coach. What do you even, I think you just go balls to the wall and just do whatever you want.
You literally cannot make a mistake. You have the freedom to do absolutely anything. It's called house money for a reason. Do anything. I would be trying people every day. We're literally rotating positions. We'll have a new person pitch.
Yep.
We'll have a new person in the outfield. Screw it. Who cares? Is Charlie Blackmon still there? That's the only Rocky I know. Bring him back. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Reunion tour. At least for home games. That's fine. He doesn't need to play anywhere else.
Sell tickets.
Yeah, that's all what it is. You know what? Today we got Sean Payton. He's pitching. If John Elway took the mound for a game, you know how many tickets would sell?
And he would too.
Oh, John would. Yeah, he would love that. He could be the GM too. He would jump on that too.
Right.
Every old Bronco.
Before we transition to basketball here, just we're on baseball talk right now. 999 challenge. Any thoughts? 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings.
See, we were trying to get some people because I went to the Twins game for Jake's bachelor party, and we're trying to get some people to do it. And like I was watching a lot of videos. I was really amping myself up to do it. That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's something that I think I can do it.
You think so? So what's your strategy? Because there's multiple ways to go about it, I think. Let's set the parameters of this. Are you of the opinion that you have to finish like the set of 1 within the inning, or is just throughout the 9 innings you have to do all 9 of every category?
I think either way is fine. Getting the beer and the hot dogs down in 9 innings, I think that's fine. I think the fun way to do it is to do 1-1-1 every single inning.
That's the harder way, I think.
Correct. And I think that's the more respectable way, though.
For sure. It is. But, it's a respectable game. You got to do it for sure.
Right. But if you're taking the easy way out and trying to do it like get as much down before or whatever, get them all down in the 9 innings, however you do it, think you have to get the hot dog buns down as quick as possible because that's going to soak up all the beer.
Yes, but once the buns settle in there, I think you're
I know.
Like, I don't know. Like, you for sure can't go all of the beer first. You need to have a lot of the beer left over to get the dogs down.
Right.
If you could like double the bun, like get like 4 of just the hot dogs down and like double up some of the buns with the beer, I think it's a time thing. It's a time thing. You can't
right.
let the bread in your stomach too long.
I think you can I think anybody can do like 5 hot dogs and 5 beers. But once you get to that point, you're like, you got to do 9. Like it's like going to a football game in the winter without your shirt on. If you're going to do it, you got to do the whole game. You got to do the whole thing.
Is there a beer that you would choose specifically?
I mean, like probably Coors Light. It's just the lightest thing. Like you can drink that like water. Yeah.
Jake recently, for his work, they got a box for him, and he got to pitch what one of the beers was, and he went to a Brewers game in a box and got Hams. So
tough look.
That decision. And no. The thing is, he's the only one there who drinks Hams. So he is responsible. I think he had 5 of them, and I can't imagine. I mean, it's just water, but that's one of the beers that I almost would choose.
Yeah, the thing is, you have to do something that doesn't have that much of a taste either. So, like Busch Light, I think is fine. Like Miller Lite's got too much of a taste to do it. I think Budweiser's got too much taste. Bud Light's got too much of a taste. So I think it's Coors Light or Busch Light.
Yeah, Busch Light would work too. Coors Light's a good choice. I think that is pretty. It does need to have a taste. Yeah, I think you're right. Otherwise, like, have you ever had a Liney's Light? I feel like a Liney's Light would be perfect. I don't know if they sell that there, but that would be a good one.
Yeah, you can't. I don't know. Maybe can't do anything heavy.
No, if you did Bud heavy,
right? Like imagine doing a spotted cow.
That would be a disaster. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. Or like an IPA or something like that. Yeah, that'd be terrible. I do feel like if we do like a FlurrySports offsite thing at some point during the football season, maybe we do our best. We get this. If baseball's still going, we can do it for baseball. But if we do it something for a football game or something, I think we try it. And I think if Trevor's there, he's going to fail first, which is fine.
Right.
So we're not going to be the worst no matter what. And if Trevor's in the chat or anything, but I think we do need to figure something out record it, obviously, for content. Like, let us know if there's something specific. If you don't want the hot dogs and beer, if you want something else, let us know that as well. But I do think we need to do some sort of eating challenge. Would you do spicy?
Spicy.
Or no?
Yeah. Like, I like spicy food.
Like, okay. I'm just trying to think of like different ideas that we could do. Maybe we find some of the hottest wings somewhere, something like that too.
True. And just going back to the hot dogs, you can't dress the hot dogs either.
Is that a rule, or are you saying you prefer no?
I think that's the strategy, is you can't dress them.
I don't know. If you could make it different, I think that would make it so it's not like you're eating the same thing, you know?
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I think,
but I mean, how many variations are you just gonna do? Mustard, ketchup, mayo, relish, onions?
Here's the thing. If I'm drinking beer at the same time, I don't know if I want ketchup and relish.
That's what I'm saying.
Mustard, I think I'm cool with, but yeah, I don't know if I want a ketchupy beer. I think that would make me puke after 2.
Yeah. Then you'd be puking red.
True. It's almost like, and I hate these. Some people like these, but I can't even remember what they're called. Well, they had like a Bud Light Bloody Mary mixed thing.
Yeah.
You remember those? Those are disgusting, in my opinion.
Agreed.
That reminds me too much of that. I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, NBA.
Yeah, hell yeah.
NBA. And maybe we do something for the NBA draft, because you know what? Don't party too hard on night 1 of the NBA draft, because as we learned starting last year, NBA draft's now 2 nights. And I'm sure everybody will tune in for both nights. I think, and I don't think I'm just hypothesizing this, I think it's just an obvious thing, right? That last year, the NBA switched to a 2-night draft because LeBron James' son, was getting drafted on the second night. Is that just a widely accepted obvious why they did it?
It has to be.
Or no? Right? Like, I don't think obviously the NFL draft is a 3-day thing. People watch for sure the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
They'll always tune in somewhat for the third day. NBA keeps trying to be the NFL anyway, but they thought, it's the biggest thing they've had in a long time. It's the only second round draft pick anyone ever has cared about watching to see where he got drafted to.
Right.
So I think they capitalized on that, but there's no way they think this is going to be successful, right?
Correct. Right. And there's no reason it should be. But just like, if we're going to compare the NBA to the NFL, which the NFL is going to blow the NBA out of the water 10 times out of 10, right?
Sure.
You would think that a second round in and maybe just because more people care about football than basketball, but you would think that NBA second round should bring, an idea of like second round NBA picks, like all the later rounds. People know the players. Like, if you watch college basketball, if you know if you know anything with basketball, you're gonna know who's being drafted. NFL in the later rounds, maybe 3 picks per round.
Well, especially with the NBA, and it's hard. There's a lot of elements here, but like, I actually think the second round players more than picks like
for sure
16 through 30 or something.
For sure.
Because that's all the upperclassmen, like we talked about pre-show, all the upperclassmen are the ones that are in the second round. So those are the guys you probably have watched the most of.
Right. Yeah. Like the later first round is going to be, like middle teams that probably have a playoff team are going to take a gamble. Like the Bucks with Giannis, no one knew who the fuck Giannis was, but are going to take a gamble on a foreign guy or, a guy from a G League, try to get that.
Right. Yeah. So then your upperclassmen, the Wisconsins, the Creightons, stuff like that, those guys that just kept coming back year after year. There were seniors, super seniors. Those are the guys now. All of a sudden, they're good enough to go to the NBA. They have no more years of eligibility left. But the NBA is like, we can't do anything with you. You can rent a car by yourself. You cannot play for our team. That's not how that usually goes. So it's weird. They downgrade your age a ton. But even still, like, how many second round draft picks are even going to play this next year? It's going to be interesting. It's just because there aren't very many like spots on teams at this point. How many do we know of any players that actually retired this year?
Nothing yet.
Nothing crazy yet. There was no like, this is my final year while the year's going on. Or
I mean, in terms of the big names, like LeBron's going to play another year, Chris Paul is going to play another year, Durant's going to play another year, Steph's going to play another year. Like, all the big guys are staying around.
Yeah, I can't even think of who
I could see like
gone.
Like comes to right before training camp, you can get maybe like a PJ Tucker retirement or a James Johnson or like guys that don't really matter.
Yeah. Don't tell PJ Tucker that. I think I would venture to guess fucking Wembanyama retires before PJ Tucker openly
Yeah, probably,
retires.
to be honest.
There's no way. He's coming back and he's going to pitch himself as the guy who can shut down Durant as Durant puts 35 on him. It's insane.
It's crazy too with guys like James Johnson just took over like the Udonis Haslem role of let me just be the big vet enforcer that's good in the locker room and is going to stand up for like the guys when they get in fights. You're just wasting a roster spot. Just be a coach at that point.
Yeah, I don't understand it. That made no sense. Like they went to Haslam was so respected, but they like went to his house like he was Brett Favre. Like
Right.
They went to him to convince him to come back again and again. Like it just made no. They got him like I can't remember what the story is, but like I think Spoelstra got him something insane as like a present to come back again.
Right.
Like, I don't understand it.
Don't even be a coach. Just give him no responsibility. Just be an advisor and pay him $1 million.
Yeah, sit on the bench. Who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's not playing. He's just there to chirp the other team and then be there for practices, I'm sure, in the locker room and stuff like that.
Right. And just get all the rookies ready.
Right. The Heat run their program completely differently anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's the same type of thing. You're wasting your roster spot with any of Giannis's brothers and stuff like that too. But keeps Giannis happy, so Milwaukee will do what they can. If he is coming back, he should be, I assume. But we shall see. Let's look at who potentially could be chosen here. Let me go back to the first round. So I guess let's start with the order in case anyone missed it. So obviously it's a lottery, so it's rigged to favor whatever's going on. So Luka gets traded from the Mavericks. They do have the first overall pick. The Spurs, I think, are super interesting at the second overall pick. Obviously, they've had a couple of. Did Castle win Rookie of the Year? They've had a couple of really good rookies in a row. And then Chris Paul's there. And is Chris Paul a free agent, actually? He might be a free agent.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox is running their show there.
De'Aaron Fox is there. So Chris Paul will go with the Clippers, I can only imagine. But yeah, this is the order. We got 76ers, Charlotte, Utah, Washington, poor Washington, Pelicans.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with the lottery. Like, right? It's nice to have a lottery to limit tanking and all that. But you get a team like the Charlotte Hornets who haven't won like more than 30 games in like the last 25 years, and they have never had the number one pick like since Alonzo Mourning.
No, yeah, I like that. It obviously makes it so you don't want to openly tank necessarily, but at some point, like we need to get these guys competitive a little bit. We need to juice them up somehow. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I wish there was a way to like I almost think along with the lottery system or something, like maybe if you are worse, you have more money to spend. Maybe that's good. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. But this is the team. This is the order. We already know the first overall pick.
Right. A team that made the playoff, basically the playoff, like playing playoffs or whatever, is the number one pick this year.
Right. Yeah. This isn't a bad team.
Right.
I would say the top two teams aren't bad teams. Correct. 76ers, I have no idea. But 76ers are down there because they didn't have Embiid for a bunch of games.
Yeah, they were all injured all year.
I don't know how good Philadelphia is anyways. But anyway, we will look at some players here. Cooper Flagg is already locked in to go to the Mavericks, so we know that. Is there an actual discussion for number 2, or is that locked in as well?
Cooper Flagg is going to be number 1 for sure, and maybe this is a hot take. I think that he's a better prospect than Victor Wembanyama. I think Victor Wembanyama came really raw, but just based on his size, he's a good player. Like Cooper Flagg is already going to be an NBA All-Star when he comes in. So that's set in stone. Number 2, there's not. I mean, like if the Spurs hang on to the pick, which it kind of sounds like they are now that you know Giannis is going to stay with Milwaukee, Kevin Durant's with Houston, kind of the big dogs who are maybe on the trade block are kind of falling into place. Dylan Harper is probably the guy there, which Rutgers is incredible at recruiting, but bad at like playing team basketball. So to have Dylan Harper, I mean, he's going to be a big guard, which is going to be weird for the Spurs because they are kind of guard heavy right now. But De'Aaron Fox's contract is up after a year, so you give him a year behind De'Aaron Fox, and depending on what happens, you can kind of ship Fox out. Harper will be good player, Kate Cunningham-esque kind of player.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
Not that it's Kate Cunningham, but a big guard who can score and pass.
And I knew, again, I passively watched college basketball, more so just March Madness heavy. So if they didn't make the tournament, maybe I didn't see as much of them. I'm surprised there's 2 Rutgers guys in the top 3.
That's what I'm saying. They're incredible recruiting, bad playing.
Interesting. Okay. So I know, and you have a full mock draft going out on Flurry Sports tomorrow. That is Tuesday if you're listening to this. So flurrysports.org, you can read more of like where Luke's projecting players to go, what he actually thinks of them, stuff like that. But I know you did have a list of players here that you specifically want to point out for us to look at. Maybe who, for someone like me, I don't really know them, who they may remind me of as well.
So with a third pick, they're like Philadelphia is in a really interesting spot because they were injured all year. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Jared McCain, they're hurt all year. Paul George just kind of sucks now, but he was injured too. VJ Edgecombe, who's number 4 on the list here, can be a really interesting guy for them. He's a guy who kind of plays a little like Zach LaVine before the ACLs. Plus now that he can shoot, so he's a high flyer who can shoot threes. It gives them a reason to move on from Paul George if he sucks again. But it brings kind of some different versatility. Like Philadelphia is probably going to be in the playoff next year if Embiid's healthy. So it's just they're adding a good player to an already all right team.
I can honestly say I did not know Paul George was on the 76ers. That is interesting. I had no idea. So if they did go for Edgecombe, I assume it would be what? Maxey, Edgecombe, and then Paul George, somebody else, Embiid. That's the starting 5.
Yeah,
then?
probably Jared McCain when he comes back.
Okay, that's not a bad starting 5 then. Like
right,
that's a team that can compete.
Their names, and if you have Embiid on the court, you're gonna score at least 90 a game. So
true. Okay.
What's interesting too is the second Rutgers guy, Ace Bailey, up there. Apparently, like he's he like is I don't want to call him like a prima donna, but he didn't want to like work out with the Sixers. He avoided an interview with them. I think they're doing it like tomorrow, which makes me think that they're not going to draft him. But
Sure.
I think he took one with like the Spurs. He took one with like the Jazz. He's like selecting where he wants to go.
Interesting. Do you think he's good enough where like he can have that type of pull?
I don't, but I think he'll be a fine player. Like he's a 19-year-old at Rutgers who he played fine in college, but he wasn't anything crazy. Kind of Michael Beasley-esque, Michael Porter Jr.-esque, kind of a big wing who can shoot the 3 a little bit. But I don't know that he's a guy who and the only one in the draft who I think should be able to do that is Cooper Flag, and that's not even he's going to be the number 1 pick anyways. So.
I mean, prima donna doesn't necessarily fit them, but in terms of a big guy, kind of a playmaker who can shoot the ball, that sounds like a Spurs guy to me.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth. Did the Spurs name a new head coach?
Yeah, it's the guy who's been interim from all year. I forget his name.
Okay, that makes sense. Hopefully Pop is good. Okay, so I mean, how high do you think Konka Nipple can go as someone biased who unfortunately kind of wants to see him do well?
I know. I like Konka Nipple a lot. Like obviously he's a Duke guy who I hate him, but he's a Wisconsin guy.
Right.
He's a guy, when I wrote him up, like other than Cooper Flag, he might have the highest floor in the draft where you know exactly what you're getting out of him. He's gonna make the right play every time. He can score from all over the court. He's just not, athletic not fast enough to probably keep up with the Anthony Edwards of the world, to keep up with the Kevin Durant's of the world. I know Charlotte likes him from reading reports. The Charlotte fan pages on Facebook love him. They think he's going to be like a Gordon Hayward kind of player. He feels
Sure.
like a spot up shooter who can create offense when needed.
Yeah, he is. He almost I'm just trying to think of what position he would play. Like he kind of has to play the 2, but you're right. He is not fast whatsoever.
Right, and he's a guy who like people who don't watch college basketball and watch NBA think that he's going to be like JJ Redick. But he's a guy who can he can work off the screen. He can pass. He can hit open guys. Things like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's going to be a fundamental player and stuff, but I could see him becoming a defensive liability a little bit. We shall see.
My favorite guy in the draft, who is just incredible to watch, is Trey Johnson from Texas. The dude, Jamal Crawford.
Oh,
Brandon Jennings, Michael Redd. As soon as the guy touches the ball, shots going up. And he shoots from Steph Curry range. He throws down dunks. He hits from all over the place. He is so fun to watch.
so in your opinion, then what's like the highest you think he could end up going? He's rated 5th for whatever it's worth on ESPN. Do you think he can get up to like that, the Spurs
Like,
at 2, or no?
I don't think so. Like, I would take him ahead of Ace Bailey. I would take him. I would take him ahead of Con Knipple and VJ Edgecombe. But I get, teams want, length and defense and all this. It kind of feels like a Jazz pick at 5. Maybe the farthest down I see him going is Pelicans at 7.
Hmm. Okay,
So I
that's
would
fair.
say right outside the top 3. Any of those picks.
Okay. You think, but he's your favorite player. You think he can come in right away and like lead a
So
team, obviously in the
yeah,
backcourt?
so fun to watch.
Okay, I like that. We need more like young guy. I don't know. I'm wrong because I don't watch much NBA and because I just literally hate it. But I feel like they're missing more like flashy
Yeah,
guards at the moment, I guess.
he like if you put a gun to my head and said compare him to a player, he's like Joe Johnson.
Okay, love Joe Johnson.
Yeah,
One of my favorites of all time.
yeah.
I am shocked to see Derek Queen on this list.
I
I did
love
not
Derek
know
Queen.
I like him too. I don't know why. I'm just surprised that he declared for the draft. I thought he was coming back. I don't want him to just be another Maryland big guy who went too early and just is out of the league immediately.
Which
Why
very well
is he
could
not
happen.
that? Sure.
He's a guy who, and this is what's great to me about the NBA draft is like NBA draft definitively every single player you can either label him as a good player or a bust, which I don't think you can do with
Mhm.
NFL just because there's so many guys and so many moving parts. Baseball, who the fuck knows? Hockey, who the fuck knows? But Derek Queen is a guy who's either going to come down to a team and by his 3rd year he's scoring 25 a game, or he's Anthony Bennett out of the league in 4 years.
Sure. Do you think he's a player? Because I think there's no doubt, right? Like he's so young. There's no doubt
Yep,
that he has like room to improve.
for
Do you
sure.
think he's someone who should just be an immediate starter and just learn as he goes?
No, probably not.
Okay.
He kind of feels like a little. I mean, it's probably just because they're like fat guys, but Glenn Davis, I love a little bit of that in him, like a little Charles Barkley in him, who can
Mhm.
shoot a little bit. So I think who's ever gonna get him, people are gonna love him. He's a likable guy. He's a good locker room guy, and he's a big guy who can handle the ball, which is always really fun. And he's a fat guy, and people love fat guys.
True. Very true. What other guys? Igor Demon. Is this guy someone to pay attention to? I have no idea who this is.
No, honestly, like he
Okay.
feels like he's not gonna be a guy that's gonna come in and be a franchise changer right away. Kind of feels Wesley Matthews esque, where like that kind of feels like a ceiling. Where if he can, play solid defense, he can score the ball, he can hit the three, he can handle the offense a little bit. But I don't know that he's ever gonna be a guy that people at home or people that don't watch the NBA are gonna sit down and watch a game or gonna be like, who the fuck is that guy?
Just off the top of your head, do you know of any other NBA player to come from BYU? I don't.
Sean Bradley,
Really?
I
Okay.
think so.
Like
Jimmer,
BYU is kind of turning into a football school, but
Jimmer.
oh yeah, true, true. Jimmer, I can't remember his Chinese nickname, but yeah, the chosen one over there in China. He's doing good. That's true. Okay, so in the past few years, obviously the NBA, I mean, for a long time, has been dominated by like the international big guys that have come in. And France has sort of popped up recently. Obviously, you have Wemby. I feel like there's one other big French guy as well.
Hmm. Rudy
There's
Gobert.
another French, yeah, not him, but the biggest or the top rated international guy here is at 9, which I think is lower than past years, but he is from France. Is there anything that we should know about him? Is he too high because of like the big basketball boom in
No,
France right now, or is he legit?
I will say I will preface this by saying by as a guy who is thinks that America is still so far better than every single country in the world of basketball. Like the people that don't like basketball want to say that France and Canada are coming up. Like nobody's going to hold USA.
No.
Um, Noah Sengu. You remember Al Farouk Aminu?
Yeah.
Kind of like that a little bit, a little bit more athletic than that, where it's a big guy who can switch on to small guys. Defense is probably where he's going to make his money. But he can hit mid range. He can work inside a little bit. But again, he's not a Victor Wembanyama. He's not a Alex R. Risha Stay from last year or anything like that. He'll be a
That's what
guy
I
who
was
could,
thinking.
like kind of Nicholas Batum. Not that he plays like that, but can kind of probably hang around like that.
Is he someone who's going to come over right away, or is he like going to stay
Yeah,
overseas?
I think
Okay.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I think he can come over right away.
Okay. That's interesting. I feel like that's been the case lately. Maybe there's been like a new structural, like in contracts and stuff over there. I just remember the days where it's like they draft a guy and okay, see you in a few years. It's almost like baseball, like,
and they never work out.
Never, no, never. Except for I think, did Rudy Gobert come over or not Rudy Gobert? Fuck Rudy Gobert. I don't know why he's in my mind.
No, we're back
Ricky
on Rudy
Rubio.
Gobert.
I feel like you're a Gobert
I'm on
fan.
Rudy Gobert. Yeah.
Why? No.
After he put away the Lakers on 30-20 game in the playoffs this year.
I mean, that's fine. Anyone who can knock the Lakers out, that's great. But I'm not putting that on Rudy Gobert. I'm saying, man, if there's anyone to like on the Timberwolves, it's Anthony Edwards. You can't even give credit to anybody else. Screw Gobert. Okay, I didn't know there's a third Duke guy. Is there anything to know about this guy?
Yeah, he's a big 7'2" African guy who has no offense whatsoever, but is going to bring energy and defense. He's probably a bad pick for whoever takes him because he's going to take, like, if you want him to be an offensive guy, he's not going to be that until he's like 27 years old.
Sure. Interesting. The gem of the NBA Academy Africa project, which I have never heard of, but that sounds interesting. I'm actually going to look into that.
He's a guy who, like, Houston, not that, like, Houston shut him down. Not that it's hard to shut him down, but Houston, like, completely took him out of the game against in that Final Four game, or in the Final Four. He had like 3 rebounds or something in the game.
Oh, really? This is such a surface level comparison, so I almost feel bad about making it, but I'm going to because that's the show. Can he become a Bismack Biyombo or no?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, he's probably never going to get the offense like Bismack Biyombo had, which is not saying a lot. But Bismack's later years get to hit the 3 a little bit. He feels like a guy where you're a young, like, if he was a football player and he's coming in and Jacksonville Jaguars got the new GM, right? He's a guy that you can draft and say, I want to work on this guy, and he'll keep you a job for 2, 3, 4 years.
Is he a Thon Maker?
Not nearly as skilled on offense.
Okay. Well, yeah, sure, but okay.
Which I still think Thon Maker can be an all-time NBA great.
I mean, he has potential. That's for sure.
Right.
He could do it.
There's
He's
that
not
story
in the league, is he?
No, I don't think so. There's that story where you didn't know if he was like 19 or 28 or whatever.
Yeah. It's insane. Okay, other guys here that you want to talk about that you wrote down.
Jace Richardson's awesome. Jason Richardson's son from Michigan State.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, high flyers, can score the ball from anywhere on the court. He's very fun to watch. He was a big reason Michigan State was like really good last year.
So he was just a freshman then at Michigan State as well? Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I did not know his son's
Jason Richardson, incredible 2000s NBA player, 2 dunk contests. Yeah. Not that he's going to be, like, I think he's probably a better player than Jason Richardson, but he'll be fun. Him being ranked, 18th is kind of crazy. Like, I would take him end of the top 10.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think he comes in and plays right away. The only problem is he's 6'1" and he's not a point guard. But he can play.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of NBA, like former NBA kids that come in are always, I mean, except for Bronny, are usually pretty skilled. Like they get there based on their skill and their name, and then they're just undersized weirdly.
Right.
Which kind of feels like this guy then.
Right at the bottom there, Danny Wolf is an interesting player. 7-footer who was awesome at Michigan last year. He can hit the 3, he can score all over. And you would think he would be a better defender for being 7 foot, but he's not a bad defender. Like being if he gets drafted at 25. Like if someone like if the Thunder get him, that's incredible.
Sure. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And obviously, we look at the two teams that were in the NBA Finals and stuff. They have a bunch of big guys that are versatile. They keep switching on to people, so I'm sure. I would assume other teams are going to start to try to mimic that and stuff. So feels like that he kind of fits into that mold a little bit. Interesting. Oh, he's an Ivy League guy. Then
came from Yale. He was part of the Yale team that upset Auburn 2 years ago.
Sure. So he's one of the few, I would say, in the first round probably that are upperclassmen then, right?
Yeah. And then just one more, Liam McNeely at UConn. He's part of both those champions. Or no, he's a freshman. So he came in. They were he was the best player on the team this year. He's more of like the JJ Redick type more than Con Knipple, but they're very similar players.
Okay. Big, yes, 38% 3-point shooter. So
and he's a fun guy. He talks shit too.
Yeah, you could tell white guy with a headband. He has to. Does he have legit range, or is it he's a college 3? Okay.
No, he can hit. And he's coached by Dan Hurley, so he's got grit. He's he can get yelled at a little bit.
True. Is Dan Hurley going to be the new Knicks coach, or did the Knicks already name a coach that I didn't listen?
No, they haven't named the coach, but every single team that they've tried to, you've seen that they've asked
they deny it. Yeah,
it's so
fuck
funny.
You. Why?
It's so good.
You can't take our head coach, you losers.
And I'm I love when the Knicks are good because I think New York basketball is good for basketball. But if they were like the Celtics, I would hate them. But I want the Knicks to be good, but it's very funny that they're not. They don't have a head coach.
It's going to get to a point where they're like, who we should interview? We should interview Thibodeau. Like he would be great right now. He would be a great coach. Okay. Any other first rounders here that you think in the right landing spot they could actually be really solid?
Nothing crazy. Like Georgetown has Thomas Sorber, who I know the Pelicans like him. I don't know. It might taking him at 7 might be a little too high. This is probably a lazy comparison just because they're both Georgetown guys, but he's a little Roy Hibbert-ish, where he can bang inside, grab rebounds and putbacks, and not much else.
Yeah, you're right there. I don't know much about this guy, but I know Roy Hibbert doesn't have much else. For sure. Does it feel like there's more big guys than normal? I mean, in the top 10, I guess it's a lot of guards, but
yes, there are a lot of big guys.
Interesting. So it's a 2-night event. Everyone, eyes are glued to the day 2. So who are some potential guys that we may know, or some potential steals maybe on day 2 that could go?
The obvious one is Walter Clayton, right? He kind of just carried Georgia. Carried Georgia, and he's an incredible player. He's a little small to be a go-to guy, but if he ends up not to the degree of being a top 10 player in the league like Jalen Brunson, but if he has a great career, how the fuck do we let him slide to second round? I could totally see that. He's a guy who can hit everywhere. He plays defense. Not that he single-handedly brought Florida there, but he was the reason that Florida won a championship.
I mean, he was the reason. If the game's close at all near the end, it's okay, Florida's going to win because he's just going to take over. He has that.
He's got it.
Steph Curry, that he's got the it. He's going to find a way to score and make the play. He's
been a guy who he's got an awesome story. He's been 3 different colleges and got a championship. He's not going to get drafted early because he's 23 years old, but. If let's say another because Oklahoma City has 6 first-round picks over the next two drafts. But if he ends up in Oklahoma City and he's running the second unit, you're like, how the fuck did we let Oklahoma City get Walter Clayton?
My only thing, and I hate it because he can't do jack shit about it. I don't know if Walter Clayton works off the bench or in that type of role. I feel like he needs to be a leader on the floor.
Right. Yeah. The only reason, if you bring him off the bench, he's a guy who has to have the ball in his hands. And if he can develop into a Lou Williams type player, that would be an incredible career trajectory for him.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. We know he can play. It's just, we know he can play when he's on the floor and can settle into a game and feel it out and set people up and blah, 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 blah. It's similar to the NFL where it's okay, we got this really good 20 per carry running back, 20 carry per game guy. what if we put him on the field for 5 carries in with another guy? Let's see how it is, a la Houston this year. It's like, oh, maybe Nick Chubb's not going to be very good with 7 carries. Maybe he gets better as the game goes on. Stuff like that.
It also feels like Walter Clayton could be a guy that, gets drafted by like I don't know, like a loser team, like the Trailblazers or something, and they don't develop him, and he sits there, and he's like, fuck this, I'm out of here after 2 years, and he ends up like on the Celtics and starts dominating.
Or he's just going to be like solid with the Blazers or the Nets or somebody like that for 2 years and then just basically not get a second contract. And he's done. Like, I could see that too.
I will say, just for my own biases, I'll talk about Drake Powell from North Carolina. He's a guy who should probably stay in college another year. He's a really good player. He's lengthy. He can knock down a three. He's a good defender. He's just raw. Like he needs a year or two of development yet before he becomes a real good NBA player.
For the NBA, I can't remember their rule. Like, I know you can declare for the draft and then pull. If he doesn't get drafted, could he still go back to college or no? Or is he in?
If he doesn't sign an agent, well, I don't know if that's changed with NIL, but it used to be if you didn't sign with an agent, you can go back.
Interesting. Okay, that's so weird. If you could like just put your name in, not sign, not get drafted, and then just be like, "Hey, we're cool, we're back."
Right?
Doesn't matter. That's super weird. A lot of people know Kalkbrenner. He was at Creighton forever. He's a stud. Do you think that translates to the NBA?
For sure. He's an awesome player. He's going to be great in the NBA. So like a 4-time defensive player of the year. Like he's defender. I think he's like a 35% 3-point shooter. He had a 40-point game this year in college. Like he can score the ball. It's another guy where like, why is he a second round guy? And again, it's because he's, not the fastest guy, but if you're 7 foot, you're just gonna be in the paint the whole time. And he's 23 years old.
Get him to Utah stat. It would
love like a Utah guy.
Yeah, for many reasons. They will love Ryan Kalkbrenner, I feel like.
Yeah. He feels like a guy, and I'm just saying this as a Bucks fan, like he could easily replace Brook Lopez in the starting lineup.
Sure. That's actually not a bad thing. And for a team that obviously needs to retool and go. Like right now, you don't have time to sit and develop people. That's an interesting pick.
If you scroll down a little bit, like Janai Broom won Player of the Year. There's no reason that he should be the 40th ranked player. Like he's definitely a top 20 guy in the draft. It just, again, he's old and I mean he's a little undersized, but he can bang inside.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so 6'9", does that work for the NBA? It's a weird in between size.
Probably not. Like he can step out and hit the three every now and then. He's not gonna need to do that in the NBA. But again, it's the same thing. It's the same argument I've always had in the NFL draft. Like the Heisman winner, why wouldn't you take the best player? If you're iffy on a guy, take the best player in college basketball last year.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
There's a reason he was voted the best.
Yeah, best player on the best team the entire year, and yeah, he was great.
Right.
So let's say Cooper Flagg sucks to suck, gets hurt right away, does not get to play the majority of the season. If you had to pick one of these guys to win Rookie of the Year, then who do you think it would be?
I would, my heart wants me to say Trey Johnson, just because he's the guy who's gonna be on the highlights. He's gonna be the flashy guy. He's gonna be, all the 12-year-olds on TikTok are gonna love him because he's so fun to watch. But the best player outside of Cooper Flagg, obviously it depends on landing spots, right? But it's probably Dylan Harper.
Okay.
Especially if he falls to, which he's not going to. Maybe not, because he's not going to get a lot of time at the Spurs. Maybe someone I could even see like I hate to say it, but like Con Knipple. I don't hate that. If the Pelicans, get Jeremiah Fears, like the Pelicans have been looking for a point guard to run their team since Chris Paul left. Like if that works at all, like Zion stays healthy, I could see Jeremiah Fears being in there. Other than that, like it's Cooper Flagg. Ace Bailey, I don't like Ace Bailey. A lot of people do. I wouldn't surprise me if he started good.
Okay, that's fair. Looking back, so NBA is weird. They don't usually do trades during the draft, I would say, at least for superstars and stuff. But like, is there any team that actually could move out of this top 5 or so?
Theoretically speaking, the Spurs should move down or should, move for a player. It's not going to happen. Um,
Okay.
Philadelphia's in a spot where if talks happen and someone became available, like I said, they're a playoff team. If you add, a vet, they're going to work. They should trade out. Brooklyn's interesting because Cam Johnson is always going to be floated around as a trade piece. D'Angelo Russell's always going to be floated around. I could see them moving back because again, I think they're a veteran away from being a playoff team. Wizards should move up. Um, Jazz, again, it's another one. Like Lauri Markkanen is always going to be floated out there because he's a good player on a bad team. I think they could move. They could move. So Phoenix got the Rockets pick in that Durant trade.
Mhm.
I could see them trying to move up because move back because they want picks. And they got one first rounder and 5 second rounders for Durant. They need to retool, and they're not going to trade Bradley Beal. I think he has a no trade clause, and he's making like $40 million. So why would you leave that?
Right.
Um, to move up, like Oklahoma City can honestly put something together. They have 3 first round picks.
That's insane.
Yeah,
They could do that. That's crazy.
right. The Heat, I could see them
Who the
on the
fuck? Oh, is
phones.
that the Clippers logo?
Yeah, new logo. It's horrible.
God, that's bad. Okay. Freaking
Um,
out. Okay.
yeah, like the Suns. Yeah, it feels like the Suns, the Nets, Utah, maybe Atlanta is on the phone. I've seen reports of them shopping Trey Young a little bit. Um, Other than that, I think there's a lot of good freshmen in this draft. Like if you're not getting Cooper Flag or Dylan Harper, I think you're all right taking any of the guys available for the most part.
Did Portland get fucked, or did they actually finish somewhat
They got
decent this
fucked.
year? Did they? Okay.
Yep.
That sucks. Um, yeah, Spurs are so interesting. So the Spurs have number 2 and number 14.
Yep.
Obviously, they were hoping to make a play at Giannis. I don't think that's possible now. Is
Mm-mm.
there like another superstar they could go after that even makes sense?
No, honestly, in terms of superstar, like if you're gonna get a guy like they need wing. Like I love Harrison Barnes. He's a Carolina guy. People hate on him. He came in and won a championship right away. I think he's a solid player. Um, I don't know. I would call Toronto about Brandon Ingram. They just got him. They're probably not gonna get rid of
Hmm.
him. I would call Brooklyn about Cam Johnson. Um, I
Not
would
that
call
this makes sense
Miami.
for not that this makes sense for them, but is there any possibility the Pelicans move on from Zion?
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. Um, like if they move on from Zion, I don't know that he has high value right now. Well, of course he has high value, right? He's Zion. He's always going to have potential.
Right.
But I don't like what's the asking price for Zion? Like what
I
do you
don't know.
want in return for Zion is the whole issue because if you're going to get 40 games out of him and you're going to get a 20 point per game guy for 40 games, but you're getting nothing for the other half of the season.
Right. Like if I'm New Orleans at this point, I'm trying to cut ties. Like, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I
I
would for
don't
sure. But
like.
I think they're in a
I don't know.
situation where they just might have to ride out his contract and let him sign somewhere else, just because nobody's going to give up so much for 40 games.
Yeah, but I mean, what's so much? I put zero value in fucking NBA draft picks, but because I've seen Rudy Gobert go for 5 first-round picks.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't the Spurs trade number 2 overall for Zion? And is
Yeah.
that enough? I have no idea. Like, I don't know.
Like when it all boils down to it, Zion is probably the number. Like if you were putting Zion in the draft right now, where he's at, he's probably the second best player in the draft.
So okay, so I've watched 3 or 4 Duke games this past year.
Yep.
And so like watching Cooper Flag was good, but like to me he blended in and then all of a sudden he had 25 points. That's kind of how it felt. If you had to just put it in perspective, how good of a prospect is he? You said something about Victor Wembanyama.
I think he's a better prospect than Victor Wembanyama, just
Okay.
in terms of being NBA ready. Like he's ready to go. I think he's going to be an all-star right away. I think he's runaway rookie of the year. Like once, and I don't even know if Kyrie Irving's when he's going to come back. But if Kyrie Irving comes back at the end of the year, like they're going to have a lineup of Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, Cooper Flag, and Daniel Gafford. Like that's at least a 5 seed in the West to me. I think he's going to make an instant impact. He helps Anthony Davis defensively because Cooper Flag is so good on defense that Anthony Davis can kind of focus on offense a little bit. Like he's great, and like and he should be graduating high school. He should have just graduated high school, and he's going to be the
He's
number
that
one pick
young.
in the NBA draft. Yeah, yeah. He forewent his senior year in high school.
Fuck that dude. Okay.
Like he can score all over the court, but the defense is certainly what brings him over the top. I would say he's probably the best prospect. Like, of course, Victor Wembanyama, but like Cade Cunningham, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I would put him in the Cade Cunningham, not quite Anthony Davis style prospects, but in the guys that are going to be franchise changers.
Sure. Okay. Like, I mean, I'm not a huge basketball guy, right? Like I know it enough. I just haven't kept up with it. And it's like, yeah, I knew Flag was the number one pick. I just didn't know, like, is he that good? Like, he's a no miss prospect, you're saying?
Correct. I hate watch Duke every single year. I hate watch them this year because like people were talking about Duke as like the next coming to Jesus Christ, and I hate Cooper Flag. I want to hate him, but like every time I watch him, like this guy is like he's far and away the best player in college basketball this year. He didn't win Player of the Year, but he can do everything.
Sure. I didn't realize how good on defense he was, I guess, too. And that's obviously to your point about being NBA ready. It's like, yeah, I can score the ball, but can you actually defend anybody? You're saying,
right?
You're saying he can come in and be an all-star, so obviously you can.
Yeah. And I mean, he was given the work to, not that it really matters, but he was given the work to the Olympic team in their scrimmages.
Right. So. Yeah. We remember that story that came out that he like schooled them, whatever. Yeah. That's the first time I even heard his name before. I don't know if other people like knew him before that or not, but I had no idea who he even was. I saw the name Flag and representing our country and I got excited. So.
Yeah. Which is crazy as a guy out of like the middle of the boonies in Maine that he's going to be probably the best player in the NBA and like, yeah, probably going to be like the best player in the NBA in 10 years.
Is this like, do we know anything about his family? Like, are they athletes or was this just a fluke?
They're athletes. They're very hateable. I hate them, but yeah.
Unsure if my connection or it's your connection that's bad, but either way, breaking up right now, but I think this is a good spot to end anyway. But I will say, right now we're recording this Monday. We're live right now, Monday. Tuesday, Luke's mock draft goes out on FlurrySports.org. And then Wednesday is the NBA draft, which we all knew. We all knew that was happening this quickly. I'm not the only one surprised. So definitely go to FlurrySports.org tomorrow, Tuesday, to see where Luke is projecting these guys to go. And then tune in for both nights at the NBA draft, but especially Thursday. You definitely want to see who your teams are getting in the second round of the draft. It's the most important round. That is the NBA Cup of rounds, I would say. So stay tuned for next week. Jake will be back, and we'll hear Jake's impressions of how the NBA draft shaked out. So we will see you then. Goodbye.